This is one of our favorite subjects to talk about because so many people truly are on prescriptions for their acne, but they want to be supported. And we feel like many times the educational support and emotional support when someone's on prescription can be lacking. And so we want to provide an amazing space to talk about what to do when you're on prescriptions and your perfect skincare routine that is going to be supportive to get even better and faster results. So let's start with Accutane, Retin-A, and dry skin. These are all kind of in the same realm because Accutane and Retin-A can have side effects of dry skin, so they're all supported in very common ways. So Danielle, starting with you, if someone is currently on Accutane, Retin-A, or just having really dry skin from a lot of treatments, what is the correct ClearStem skincare and supplement routine to maximize results?
I love this question. Off the bat, anyone on any one of those things would benefit from our Cell Renew Serum, our Hydro Glow Moisturizer, and Skin Spray All Day, and Hydro Berry. So basically all of our moisturizing products are designed to like restack your barrier and get your barrier health back in check. Now, if somebody comes to me and they're in the middle of a course of Accutane and they're on the highest dose, you want to minimize exfoliation because the barrier is already going to be so compromised and the skin is going to be so thin. So what I would just do is have them do the Gentle Clean Cleanser. I would have them do pumps of Cell Renew, both morning and night, follow it with our moisturizer and our sunscreen. Sunscreen is critical if you're on any of those or if you have a dry barrier, because if your barrier is dry for any reason, you're getting UV damage faster, and that causes accelerated aging, it causes premature wrinkles, and it can make acne scars worsen and stay darker because that baby skin is getting UV exposure, and its only defense is to, send melanin to the surface and create more spots. So anyway, all of our hydrating products and our sunscreen are phenomenal for anyone who is on any sort of drying treatment. If somebody is on Accutane, I would have them support their body internally. I would have them take good seeds because it helps with internal hydration, and it helps the microbiome, it helps kind of support that while we're doing the other treatments to it. I would also have them I would just have them focus on hydration from the inside out. I'd actually encourage that they take like 4 good seeds because that sea buckthorn oil is known as the holy fruit because it helps increase cellular hydration, and that shows up in your skin. So that's what I would do for someone on Accutane. If they're on Retin-A, first things first, I would make sure that it's not the white cream version because that one generally has isopropyl myristate as one of its filler agents, and that's a notorious pore clogger. So many people have done the white cream version of Retin-A, myself included, and experienced a nasty purge, far more acne, and it doesn't go away. And they'll be 6 months into it, past the supposed integration period and acclimation period, and their skin is still destroyed. That's because it's reclogging the pore at the same time as it's making it shed constantly. So then you have 2 terrible things going on at the same time. So if you're going to do Retin-A, highly recommend that you only do the gel version, and you'd probably be better off if you buffer it with your moisturizer. And then if someone's just dry in general, I would say no hot water on your skin. A lot of people are drying out their skin barrier with hot water in the shower or just letting the shower water beat on their face. That is no bueno for the barrier. And then if they're over relying on benzoyl peroxide, which is very, very common in the acne space, I would have them just do the benzoyl peroxide as a mask, maybe a couple times a week. Yeah, so I see that a lot in my clinic. People will come to me and their barrier is a mess from too much benzoyl peroxide because it is very effective. You get an immediate result, and so your brain's like more, 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 and you become over reliant on it, and then all of a sudden your barrier is just annihilated, and it can take weeks to get it back to normal.
We make it really easy for people that can sometimes get overwhelmed of where to turn with skincare. And so our collection that people should turn to when their skin barrier is compromised from an Accutane, Retin-A, or simply just very dry skin, they can turn to our Prevent and Support collection. And these are going to be all the ones that Danielle just mentioned to, again, help prevent breakouts, but also support it at the same time. Dr. Omer, same question for you. If someone is currently on Accutane, Retin-A, or just really compromised skin barrier and dry skin, what do you recommend for them?
So I don't know what much more I can add after Danielle's amazing answer, but I'll add in, it wasn't mentioned. I really like I really like Hydraberry. I like Cell Renew. I love them. I like Bounce Back. It's one of my favorites. I've
Bounce
talked
back is my
about it a
favorite
lot.
too.
I always start off with the Bounce Back and then I layer, a thicker moisturizer on top of that. But it's just I learned something new today about the Retin-A cream. Did not know about the pore clogging capability of cream versus gel. The biggest issue with finding the gel is for a lot of people, it's not covered by insurance.
Yeah.
And so that's the
Tough
biggest
as a
barrier to
bummer.
getting the gel. But yeah, just focus on moisturization, re-emphasizing SPF and sunscreen. UR Sunshine sunscreen is great because I have tons and tons and tons of patients that say I cannot wear sunscreen because it just breaks me out. I'd rather get the sun damage than have the acne.
That was me forever,
Yeah,
and that's part of why I have such pigmentation issues.
yeah.
I personally feel that spironolactone is one of the most prescribed prescriptions for acne. I feel like every time I'm meeting someone new who's struggling with acne or a friend, it really seems that everyone is on Spiro. And so, if someone is currently on Spiro, what is the correct ClearStem skincare routine and maybe supplement routine to get the best results and to support their body in the best way?
So one thing that people don't really know about spironolactone is it in of itself can dry your skin out as well.
Mm.
So everything that we talked about in terms of dry skin care applies to spironolactone as well. I also like to supplement a lot with mind body skin. If you've heard me talk about mind body skin, it's one of my favorites for a few reasons. I love the vitamin A. I love oral vitamin A. Why? Because at the right dose, it can slow down oil production, it unclogs pores, it's anti inflammatory.
Mhm.
The DIM I call sort of nature's version of spironolactone without having to affect your blood pressure. I've had patients that they say after a couple of months of use, their friends say that their skin's glowing, and I really think that's the glutathione. That is a skin brightener. And yes, you can combine the mind body skin supplement with spironolactone, and you can combine it safely.
Is there ever a dose where someone can't combine it? And can you remind me of the doses of Spiro? Is it 25, 50, 100? What does that look like? And is there ever a dose where it's not a good fit?
The usual doses of spironolactone are 50, which is on the very, very low end, but it ranges from 50 to 150. I don't usually go up to 200, but the average dose I would say is 100. Studies show that for spironolactone to be most effective, it should be at least 80 milligrams a day. But regardless of the dose that you're on of spironolactone, you can still be on MBS.
Yeah, they
Amazing.
don't compete with each other at
Mm-mm,
all. They
none.
complement. Very nice.
Yep.
Again, looping it all into complementing both sides of the process and the acne journey. Pore clogging ingredients is something that I was completely unaware of before I met Danielle. I was using skincare, hair care products, makeup that was so full of pore cloggers. I think pretty much everything I was using was clogging my pores. And I also didn't understand the difference between non communogenic, non pore clogging. It was all extremely foreign to me. And Danielle really cleaned it all up for me to help me understand. And it's now why we have a pore clogging ingredients checker on our website. So you don't have to print out. I literally had a print out list from Danielle. She handed me a piece of paper and I would cross reference everything from it. But now we have an easy checker on our website that you can just lay out all of your skincare, makeup products, hair care, copy and paste the ingredient deck from the product page, put it in, and an ingredient will show up in red if it is a pore clogger and you know that that might be causing your breakout. So, Danielle, how do you know what ingredients clog your pores?
Well, there's hundreds of these little filler agents, and there is no way to like the only way to think about it is to think of it as a filler agent that is thicker than your natural oil. Bottom line. So once you know that, you're like, okay, the concept makes sense. You do not need to memorize them. You don't need to like be on the hunt for them. You just need to have the full ingredient deck to whatever you're interested in and copy and paste that in the checker. You might find that there's multiple ingredients in red and they're at the top of the ingredient deck. That means they're a higher concentration of the formula, most likely. Then you know that product is not for you. You might see it at the very, very bottom of the ingredient deck and there's only one, and you're like, well, I'm not that acne prone. I'm just trying to be conscious. That product might be okay for you. So, bioindividuality is always at play, and everyone has a different level of how acneic they are. And every product has a different level of how likely to clog your pores it is. So, knowing the ingredients is really key, but then synthesizing that information with your entire situation and your unique circumstances is how you can make the best choices for yourself.
people who come into your clinic, who do you find is typically more sensitive to them?
You said it perfectly. It's bio individuality.
Mhm.
It really, really comes down to, nature versus nurture. It's usually both.
Mm.
It is genetic, that's nature. That's nature. Nurture is environmental. But really, it really depends on your genetics and how much oil you're producing, how keratotic your skin is. The oilier your skin is, the more prone you are to getting naturally clogged pores. And unfortunately, there's no genetic test for it. It's just knowing your skin and knowing
Mhm.
what works and what doesn't. I love that you said that. I don't want people to feel like they need to get radical and they can
Yeah.
only use zero pore cloggers. But it really depends on your skin. How much is in there? How high up the list is it? And how acne prone are you? And what else are you using?
Yeah, for example, I am extremely acne prone. Even after 3 rounds of Accutane, I have to be a 0 the whole way through,
Mhm.
except on my cheeks. For some reason, I just don't break out here. So I actually have this old blush that has a pore clogger in it, and it's fine right there. If I use the same brush that I used for that blush and put it somewhere else, I will break out. So even like different parts of your face can be a little bit different. So generally, I have to stay a 0 in like all my face makeup, especially foundation. But Kaylee can use some things that are like maybe a 1 or a 2 and be okay with it. So yeah, everyone is different.
Mhm.
Except for the bottom of my chin. The amount of concealers that have got me right here.
This is a
My
hot zone for
yeah,
most
my
people.
T zone is such a hot zone. So like concealers, I have to be so specific about, but I can get away with a blush that has like one pore clogger in my cheeks and get away with it. I think this is so important to talk about and identify because back to the conversation of social media is filled with so many different recommendations. If you are someone who is acne prone and you break out easily from products or from food, it might not be the best idea to take all of your recommendations from someone who is not acne prone. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just someone who's genetically not as acne prone can get away with using a ton of stuff. So even though that the products don't break them out, if you are more acne prone, you just need to be a little more diligent, check your products, but don't feel bad that you can't use the same products as someone else. We also have a ton of supportive resources on our ClearStem socials and Danielle and I's individual socials as well. We are constantly showcasing different foundations, blushes, bronzers from all different brands at all different price points, from clean makeup to drugstore makeup to big box retailers like Sephora and Ulta makeup. So you can feel really confident playing with a bunch of different types of makeup without the fear of breaking out. The safe space that we like to create at ClearStem is you can trust that all ClearStem products have no pore clogging ingredients ever. So if you're someone that feels maybe a little more stressed or anxious when you're trying new products and feeling overwhelmed searching for new products, we've created a safe space on ClearStem for you to just play. You know that you can choose any product you want, use any product you want, and it won't break you out because it doesn't have any pore clogging ingredients. So, Danielle, question for you. There's a lot of pore clogging ingredients checker, and I've loved what you've done with our pore clogging ingredients checker because I feel like it is a very safe space. I can trust it. Everything I run through it, I never break out. So, what are some of the differences between different pore clogging ingredient checkers and what makes ClearStem so special?
Yeah, love this question. There are a ton of pore clogging checkers out there, and I think everyone in this day and age is so obsessed with making their thing different that they will like be overly extreme and include other things that aren't necessarily pore cloggers, or they'll make it a point to they want to say theirs is the most like extreme and comprehensive. So they'll just add everything, even if you're very unlikely to ever see that ingredient in the concentration that could break you out. So we take into account what we've seen having a clinical background where we actually do extractions and study what's in the pore and trace it back to the product being used that caused that. So 10 years of that level of detailed thinking, plus having cosmetic chemists on the team, plus having a dermatologist on the team, and really, really checking to see what products are emerging and in what percentage you're likely to find certain ingredients. We don't like fear mongering. Like we do not fear monger. We are the most I would say well-rounded list out there. Ours is a lot more detailed and has a lot more ingredients than some other lists out there, but there are a couple lists that might have a couple things that ours doesn't have. That's normal. You're never going to have 100% agreement on 100% of things for 100% of people. Like it's just not how the world works. And it's important to remember that people have different opinions, and if they don't have like a clinical background, and they're going to be more they're going to be inclined to add more things to their list because they haven't had the real world experience to see whether those things were actually pore cloggers or not. They're just going to be like overly conservative. So we long story short, we marry it with like the physical world and what you're likely to see in the products that you encounter.
I think the most important thing, one of the most important things you said is concentration is everything. I remember I would check certain products through other pore clogging checkers just to see what they were doing, and I'd run an ingredient by you, and you were like, that would have to be such a high percentage of the formulation to break someone out. This type of ingredient, having a cosmetic chemist background, you're like, this type of ingredient in this type of product is such a low percentage that it doesn't even make sense. So that's really important to know is a lot of the other lists don't have a clinical and chemistry background when they're making these lists. So, Dr. Omar, let's talk about supplements. Are there any supplements that you've seen help or hurt when it comes to breakouts?
As far as supplements go, there are a few supplements that I've seen and have been reported to make acne worse. So, whey protein or animal based protein, because there are a lot of hormonogenic sort of effects that can drive up your testosterone. And so, classically, when I see the patient is built or has an athletic build, looks like they go to the gym, and they have tons of acne on their chest or back, I always ask about whey protein. B vitamins, biotin, high dose
Mhm.
biotin, other complex vitamins. Those supplements can drive your acne as well. Supplements that can help and that have been shown to be anti inflammatory, believe it or not, zinc sometimes.
In the
Um,
right dosage, it's like
Mhm.
a
in the,
miracle.
it
The
really
above and
is.
below, that's where the issues come.
And the biggest issue with zinc I've seen is take it with food
Mhm.
because it can make you nauseous. A vitamin A, that is my favorite vitamin, that's also in Mind Body Skin, has been shown to help. It's it's lower dose Accutane. That's all
Mhm.
Accutane is. It's high dose vitamin A. But I don't recommend you just go out and just take a bunch of vitamin A. Go to a reputable supplement that you can trust that has been tested. What else? There was another one, DIM,
Mhm.
which is nature's version of spironolactone. So these supplements, these ingredients do help with controlling acne. I use them a lot sort of as adjunct treatments to prescriptions.
I think that's so important because, again, if you're already prescribing prescriptions to people, you really want to take out those things that can make the acne worse and basically make your results not as
Exactly.
good. And people come back in and they're like, what's going on? My results aren't good. Going through that checklist can help them have faster, better, and just more efficient results with their
Absolutely.
skin.
Yeah, I don't want unhappy patients. So.
Yeah.
So, Danielle, we talked about whey protein, which is in the dairy category, B vitamins, specifically B12.
Mhm.
We mentioned zinc as being a potential trigger. Are there a biotin? Are there any ones that we missed that can be harmful and potentially trigger more breakouts? And then any other supportive supplements that we may have forgotten?
Yeah, the only other one that can be a trigger, and I've seen this easily like hundreds of times and experienced it myself, is too much vitamin D. Too much vitamin D in supplement form can spike testosterone, and it can, what I've seen it do is create hormonal acne right where you'd have a goatee. And I've experienced it myself.
What's the little theme song that we have for that?
Dairy and D where you'd have a goatee,
That's good.
literally.
I like that.
I have seen it more times than I can ever count. Too much vitamin D in supplement form, especially when it does not have the appropriate cofactors like K2 and magnesium, it's just going to build up in your system and create like an unwanted side effect. And it is a hormone, so it actually can create hormonal acne. It also messes with an enzyme process that has to do with DHT, which is a dihydrotestosterone, which is like super testosterone. So it does have a chain reaction down the line that throws off hormones when overdone. So people hear that and they're like, I was told I can't take any vitamin D. Like, that's not what we're saying. Get a normal dose and then make sure you have the cofactors and try to get your sunshine.
Yep.
My
Where's your
favorite
sunscreen?
Yes, wear that you are sunshine. My favorite thing to remind people of is these vitamins and nutrients don't just occur in a pill form of supplementation. So, someone may be taking an excess dose of biotin, vitamin D, zinc, B12, but they aren't taking a standalone supplement of it, so they don't think they're taking it. So I
Mhm.
always like to mention the areas and culprits that these might be lingering in excess dosages, or you're having too many forms of these. Always check different multivitamins to see the recommended daily value on the back. Always check your greens powder, your protein powder, your pre workout powder, if you have any post workout creatine mixture powders, and any energy drinks that you may be taking. All of these can have multiple versions of these vitamin and nutrients. So even if you don't think you're taking that supplement, it could be adding up in your entire morning or workout routine. Danielle, are there any signs like when you see people come into the clinic for the first time and you're looking at their acne, are there any signs and signals that someone's acne might be more driven by internal factors rather than external?
I can tell when someone's acne is from an internal trigger versus external. One, we've already ruled out the pore cloggers, but number two, it'll be in a different pattern in the face. If it's truly something hormonal, like for example, PCOS, where there's excess androgens, excess testosterone, it'll be kind of like all over the cheeks and it will be pretty consistent for the most part. It happens on the cheeks because that's where we have deeper hair follicles, even if we're a woman, and acne starts in the hair follicle. So you'll see it on the cheeks more if it's truly hormonal. It can go down the jaw in certain hormonal acne cases, but this can also be from something clogging up your lymphatic system or sluggish liver. We do see that a lot. So the lymphatic system, we have the pathways all throughout our entire body, and in the face, the main areas are going to be temples. And then this area, and then down right here. A couple things that bother the lymphatic area that are super common are sluggish liver, gluten, and eggs. Egg whites specifically, the albumin protein can create an unwanted immune response where like our body like it mistakes it for an invader basically, and it clogs up our lymphatic system, and you'll see cysts right here on your lymph nodes, and it'll start going down your neck. I personally had this happen to me too, and it was really bad right here, like in a parentheses around the mouth. So if those patterns are prevalent, we know to look at diet and we know to look at liver function and to really pay attention to what's affecting the hormones.